You're listening to Enhance's bonus segment, Weird Wednesday. Weird Wednesday is our time to talk about the strange, the unsettling, and the spooky.
Hi, Enhanced listeners. I'm eating a peppermint. Welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. You've got Gabby. Say hi, Gabby. You got Sydney. Say hi, Sydney. You got Sam. Hi. And today we have a special treat for you. It's a horror hump day. Last year for Horror Hump Day, if you didn't listen to that episode, you need to go listen to it because we talked about, it was me and Gabby, and Gabby brought some fun facts about Halloween, and then I told a scary story that actually happened to me in real life, IRL, because I used to live in a haunted house. But today we got a special treat for you. So, Sydney, if I'm not mistaken, you're starting us off today, aren't you?
I am starting us off today, but I made a faux pas. I don't have an icebreaker. I just brought the cold, hard facts.
Yeah, you don't have to have an icebreaker for Weird Wednesdays.
Word. Because I know you guys already.
Yeah.
We know each other. Ice broken.
The ice is shattered. Ice melted.
Shattered. Oh my god, I literally was going to say that.
Ice melted from the warmth inside of our hearts.
And the hotness of our bodies. But yeah, we're talking today about haunted dorm rooms and the of hauntings in college campuses across America and beyond.
Yeah, because Gabby and I went to the same college, as we've said 1,000 times on here, and and she is spooky. I mean, that was I really honestly, like, I did spend a lot of money to go to that school, but I had some really great times there. And honestly, I wouldn't be who I am today if I wouldn't have went there to that school. So, yeah. But I had a lot of great times with Miss Gabby over there. And yeah, and I'll actually be back down there. Oh yeah, I just told Gabby. I just told Gabby that. I just told her that earlier, and I was talking to Sid about it because I'll be working with Sid's lovely mom, who I love. Shout out to Jen. She's one of my favorite people in the world to work with. But I'll be back down there in Mobile, where we went to college and where we met. But it's a spooky campus, and I don't want to take it away from Sid too much because Sid's going to give us a lot of fun background and stuff to get us into it. But Gabby can tell you, I used to do like off the books, like haunted tours of the campus.
Oh my god, I forgot you did that.
Yeah. We would like literally, especially during the summer. I don't know if for those of you that are listening and not watching, all three of us have spooky backgrounds on our video, but mine, I guess because my lighting isn't like bright, like, you know, like lighting my whole face. Like I keep getting glitchy around me. Like the background's kind of taking up part of my head, and I don't know how to feel about it. I might have to turn off the background at some point. I got my witchy stuff behind me. Maybe that's spooky enough. What if I just hold like a deck of tarot cards right next to my face the entire show?
Just like this. Hey guys, so ghost.
Yeah, so I did some tours at Spring Hill, SHC, go Badgers. Yeah, but anyways, yeah. So
who don't understand are screaming. They are horrified. A tarot deck.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for Sid to hear some of these fun stories. But I know, Sid, you're also in college currently. So this is like very fun. Oh yeah, you got your SMU. We should have wore Spring Hill regalia. Why did I say regalia?
For the people who are just listening and not watching, I did wear my SMU red because the color of blood, and also one of my wonderful school colors. But I wore
color of blood.
Well, Spring Hill is purple. And that's one of the colors of Halloween. That's one of the colors of Halloween. So Halloween is it's orange and purple. So orange, purple, and green. So we could have all worn orange, purple, and green too. That would have been fun.
I'm already wearing green. It's just a very dark green.
Okay. All right, Gabby.
I'm just cooler than you. We just need to accept it.
Wow.
I kid.
You're cooler than me, but who's about to start working on a Stephen King movie? So,
you know what? I'll give you that.
That's all I can say. I signed an NDA, but
I was just like,
Yeah, I can't say anything else. But I signed an NDA. But yeah, anyway. So
Sorry, I'm Sam. I signed an NDA.
my
And
NDA is bigger
school
than yours.
colors
I need you
are
to know that.
purple, the color of Halloween.
My sticky notes are
Have
orange.
you guys watched Red, White, and Royal Blue?
I have not watched it yet.
How dare you? I literally wrote a whole freaking article about it.
You did.
And I read
Watched
that.
it. You
I
did?
read
The article is so good.
I
And
read
it's
all
like-
the articles on the blog. What do you mean,
Oh
bruh?
my god. Also, just a heads up to our listeners. If you go to Enhance's website now, we now have some ad placements there. So literally, if you just go like scroll around, you will be making Enhance money. So if you're broke like us but want to support us because you love us, just go to our website and like scroll around and look at things.
Yeah.
Stay there for like 10, 15 minutes. You'll make us a couple of bucks. Thanks.
Just leave your tab open. Like you can
Yeah.
click on your tab.
I think you have to actually view the ads, like, but you don't have to like click on the ad. You just have to kind of scroll past it and like kind of be like, oh, there's an ad there. So I know it was acting a little strange when it very first popped up because like it learns based off AI and shit like that. I could do it. I just literally taught a course last week about like SEO and stuff like that. But literally it uses like AI to like understand how people are viewing the ads and like to know who is looking at the ad and what they're interested in and all that other stuff. So it literally like will change depending on the person. But when they very first loaded it, it like filled the site with ads, like literally everywhere. And it took like, it was Maggie and Savannah, our friends over at Dear Grandma, looked at the website and they were like, oh my God, did you guys get hacked? And I was like, no. And then the next time we looked, it was like only 2 ads on the page. And I was like, oh, okay. It just needed to load. Like it just needed a minute to like, but yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, if you want to go pay us, do that. But anyways, to get back on topic, sorry, the Adderall hasn't kicked in yet. Today we're going to be talking about spooky dorms and haunted dorm stories because Gabby and I have a few personal stories. Sid is going to bring us some facts, some hard cold facts, as she said in the beginning. But also, like, Sid, if you have any fun, spooky little, like, I know that you're like early in your college career, but like if you're, if there's any places on your campus that you're like, I don't know, it gives me a little chill. I'm excited. I want to hear about it because maybe we can do like a bonus, a Weird Wednesday at some point next year before where you can be like, all right, that place that gave me a chill, something happened, like.
Here's some tea. No, I don't have any scary stories from SMU. I wish that I did. I kind of asked around and like I don't know. Maybe it's just that our like theater is like the least haunted place on campus, or maybe I didn't ask like enough people, or like I'm talking to freshmen. But I really couldn't find any really haunting information about SMU. So I am going to talk about other colleges. So sorry, SMU, I just love you too much. You just must not be haunted. But there's an interesting correlation with hauntings and just injustice in general, because people have always been killed for being different or for like speaking out. And so what's cool is that in like a lot of the stuff that I read, there's a weird correlation between like the anxieties of college and like ghost stories. And I'm just gonna hop right into it. So I read a lot of stuff from this professor named Elizabeth Tucker. She is a folklorist and a professor of English at Birmingham University, and she's the author of Haunted Halls, Ghost Lore of American College Campuses. And she talks a lot about, and I quote, campus ghost stories have distinctive patterns because they are told by young people who are going through a big transition in their lives. So it's interesting because there's a lot of stories of like drunk ghosts or like stoned ghosts or like the ghosts of women who were drugged or trigger warning were raped and killed. Like there's stories of hearing women screaming in elevators and dorm rooms and like hallways. And a lot of people will like discuss, oh my gosh, have you heard about the story of so and so? They were raped, they were drugged, they were killed. And it's supposed to, in one way, have like a spooky story that people tell to be like, ooh, be scared. But also, a lot of people will insert those stories on college campuses in order to make the student body more aware of potential threats and dangers. Like, hey, did you hear about this one ghost? They got drunk and fell off of the balcony. Ooh, so don't get drunk and move near balconies. But the first ever college ghost story can actually be traced back to Oxford in England. And it's the ghost of the Archbishop William Laud. He was the Archbishop of Canterbury. Okay, Bridgerton fans, hold your
I
purse.
was about to say, Bridgerton fans, Canterbury. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Oh, pardon me. I didn't, my phone did not turn. My lovely friend was calling.
Oh,
I cannot speak.
you're glitching very badly too.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God, it's because the phone call came through on my computer as well.
Oh, okay.
Here, I'm putting my do not disturb on.
Oh, it's happening again.
Hello. How
There
am
we
I?
go.
Am I glitchy? I'm good. I put my
Mhm.
do not disturb on, so
Okay.
There you go.
sorry.
Nice.
But yes, the Archbishop of Canterbury. But he lived at St. John's College, and he was beheaded in 1645.
Oh my God.
So students of Oxford have been said to say that they know the Archbishop is nearby when they hear the sound of someone kicking a soccer ball. And
Oh.
if they look up, they'll see that it's not a soccer ball, it's his head.
Oh, my God.
I know. But this is supposed to be he's a playful ghost. He's playing with his own head. He's kicking it around like a soccer ball.
He's just goofing, taking his completely detached head.
He's in a silly, goofy mood. Like,
He's being a little stinker, little stinker.
Just shaking his head. Like, what?
And then on the opposite side of that in America, so there's reported stories of at Harvard University, the writer Amy Lowell in what was it? In 1925, she died, which was 5 years after Harvard began accepting women into its school. And she spent most of her life, she was this really gifted writer, but she could never get into Harvard. She applied and they wouldn't let her in because women were not allowed. And then they let women in, and 5 years later, she died. So she never really got a chance to get the Harvard education. And for most of her life, she would go to Harvard and would be there and would kind of bug people. And then after she died, she stayed there. So many have seen apparitions of this poet, and they'll say that they can smell cigar smoke. And the story is that as no matter how long she haunts the halls of Harvard, Lowell is a perpetual outsider. First as a woman in the world of men, and now as a spirit in the world of flesh.
Oh my God. I can only imagine just missing that opportunity. That must really suck.
I'd also be like, kill all men. In the afterlife, I'd be like, I'm gonna haunt every single one of these men.
Right. Bye. No.
Well, okay. I'm going to start going more into just a couple of different stories that are heard across different campuses. But there is a funny story about this one school where so Miami University in Oxford, there was this principal named Helen Peabody, and she was the principal of the Western College for Women, which was a neighboring university to the Miami University, but it was an all-girls school. And this was in This was in like okay, so in 1905 is when Helen Peabody died. I'm so sorry.
Like, you were just like, like,
I was like, are you good, bro?
Yeah. So Helen Peabody was the principal of Western College for Women, and it was a neighboring school for Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. Now, like, Principal Peabody was considered a severe woman, and she hated it when men from Miami University would come and try to get the attention of girls like attending her university. And she like had a real horrible about it. She hated when boys would come to solicit. She was like, no, this is an all-girls school. You're not going to be here. And she died in 1905. So people have said that they have been haunted by her if they're a man from Oxford or from Miami University in Ohio, that when they come to visit the women's the women's school, that they've reported getting haunted. And then there's a portrait which hangs in the building's foyer that apparently in like Peabody's Hall, and it's a women's only hall in the campus, and there's a portrait of Helen Peabody, and apparently people who are guilty, when they walk past her portrait, they'll notice that she can blink.
Ooh.
I don't like that.
I love that.
Mhm.
Get him, girl. You better fight.
It's scary though.
Oh no, terrifying. But get him, girl.
So she was just really, really not having it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be having it either.
We're typically not. Sorry, Sam just changed his background, and it's really scary.
That is terrifying.
It made me catch my breath.
You clutched your pearls.
Girl, I even was like,
I have both of you were like,
I was like, no, thank you.
Also, there is a ghost right here. It's
oh my
just
gosh,
fading
there
in and out.
is.
I called it. Okay, anyways. Bruh.
Oh my
gotta stop.
god, the ring.
This shit's gonna give me nightmares, and you already know that I have anxiety.
Okay, I'll stop.
Cannot be playing these games.
No, please. Oh my gosh.
I'll go to a fun chill aesthetic. There we go.
Somebody asked me if I liked like slasher films the other day.
Yeah.
Because of the spooky season. And I said rarely. Because
said-
no.
You said what in the white people?
Funnily enough, this was not a white person too. But
Really?
yes. But this is one of my friends, Jeremy, who I love. But no, he was asking me if I like watched really gory movies, and he was talking about like Saw and like Human Centipede and like yeah. And I said rarely, because I actually really like those films. I like how it makes my heart go like I could like it really makes me anxious. It really makes me anxious, and I do kind of like that.
Oh,
but
I like Grudge pulled up over here. Let me get this shit off my screen.
Oh, glowing. But I cannot watch that. Like, it will stay in my subconscious. It will stay in my head. And I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing. But, like, if I watch, like, a Saw film for the next week, I'm going to have to, like, purge all that stuff out of my head. Because I really am affected by it.
Yeah.
So, like,
body horror.
Bad images. That's negative energy, baby.
I'm sorry, but what's it called? Body horror, or you know what I'm talking about? Like body, yeah, like that kind of stuff gets me. Like I love scary movies, as we know. Like I literally just watched a scary movie. When was it? Not last night, but the night before last, because from the episode that I recorded with Manel, we talked about a specific movie that was like an alien abduction movie, and this movie was like a psychological kind of like trippy horror, and I was just like, what? Like I was so into it. It was so fun, but like body horror stuff, cannot do, where it's like body distortion and like, you know, no. And Saw, like, it messes me up. I can't do it. Cannot do it. Like I love scary movies, love them.
No,
But Saw,
None of the above. No. Literally. So me and my best friend have been having these conversations of what like non-scary Halloween movies has she seen and not seen. And she hasn't seen a lot of them, which makes me upset because those are the only ones I can watch without like freaking out. And so I was like,
good baby.
I have a list. I made her a list. Let me pull it up because you guys have to know what's on the list because like it's cute. Like they're cutesy. They're a little scary, but they're like not that scary. So like
Witches?
she's seen Twitches. That was on our list. We've already seen that.
I was like, Twitches is my shit. I used to
Twitches
love that
was
show.
mine as well.
Yeah.
Wait, were you the moon or the sun?
I feel like I was the moon.
Always.
Same.
What are you talking about?
Same. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same energy field here.
Well, see, I used to think I was the moon, but now I kind of feel like I'm the sun. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm an eclipse. Ooh, I'm just kidding. But maybe I have to be special.
Brain cells gone.
Oh, they're doing the
Thrown
Macarena.
out.
I got two little brain cells bumping together doing the Macarena.
Girl, I didn't even have two full ones. I had one and then a half of one.
That's something.
That's all I had left.
For the Fiction Forge, Hughes and I say that a lot. Where like whenever we're on the same page about something, Hughes will be like, "Our two little brain cells, they're getting it right now." I was like, and I said they're doing the Macarena, and they were like, "Yes, they are." Like our two little brain cells are sitting there like, like literally, yeah.
I love it.
The
No,
real
so
question-
these. Oh, go ahead.
Wait, the real question is though, are you a Trixie or a Katya?
Oh, do not
If
play
you're
me
a
like
Katya.
that.
A what?
Are you a Trixie or a Katya?
He has no idea what you're
Like
talking about.
Trixie.
He has no idea what you're talking about. This is disappointing, Sam. Trixie Mattel or Katya?
Oh, I mean, I know who Trixie Mattel is.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how
Trixie
to
and
say
Katya.
Katya's last name.
Huh?
She's a Russian hooker.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
she's a Russian whore, and she says it in all of her music. Thank you.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I guess I
moving
would
on.
have to be a Trixie then, because I don't know who Tatiana
you're
is.
definitely a Trixie.
You are.
Where cool.
I don't know. I feel like I'm a good mix.
See, I was having this argument with my friend last night, and I was like, no, I'm Katya because I'll roll out of bed and it's bad. But I think I'm a Trixie. I think I'm serving too much Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Bitch, her
Just
name is-
slightly. I'm just kidding.
Word.
It's okay. I'm a Slytherin, so we balance each other out.
I'm also a Slytherin.
Everyone is always like, "You're a Slytherin." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a
People say that.
Slytherin."
What? All right. So whenever I was younger, people would be like, "You're a Slytherin? Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Okay, get over it," you know. But now, whenever I say I'm a Slytherin, people are like, "Oh, I could see it," and I'm like,
No,
I'm gonna
no one
choose to
says
take that as a
that.
compliment. Like,
No one says that about me, and it always makes me so upset. And I'm like, I am fully a Slytherin.
I
Now,
think-
when I talk about the Slytherin thingy, no, but I have every other personality trait.
anywho, I think I'm a Slytherin sun, Slytherin moon, but maybe like a Hufflepuff rising.
Okay, you're dissecting it way too much. I am definitely a Slytherin through and throughout.
I've never thought about it like
Couldn't be
that.
me.
My mind is blown.
Anyway, so the non-scary movies. We're getting so off track. Okay, so like she's not seen Hocus Pocus. Right. Sydney's expression was,
Is what? It was like when there's the dog and it's like, whoa.
you've seen Hocus Pocus 2 because she has, but I'm like, you haven't seen the
What?
original one, so you can't appreciate it. Right. Okay. Next, she hasn't seen Halloween Town. Right.
Excuse me?
Again, these are like non-scary Halloween. Like they're scary, but like whatever. And I just had her watch the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion movie. So we haven't watched the new one yet, but I just had her watch that.
That's a
Hence my
staple.
background. Right. It's Eddie Murphy. You can't go wrong. Anyway. And then she hasn't seen Beetlejuice. Nope. Nightmare Before Christmas. Never
Y'all know
seen
they're
it.
coming out with a second Beetlejuice
It's coming.
It's coming or
in
like
2024.
It's coming.
It's got Liv Ortega. What's her name? Oh,
Jenny Ortega, but is it?
yeah.
Is Winona Ryder still going to be in it?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. And then I consider this a Halloween movie, but some people don't. But James and the Giant Peach.
Such a good film.
It's just like a little creepy kind of little
James and
movie.
a Giant Peach literally used to give me nightmares as a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Those
So like,
bugs.
but like she hasn't seen any of those. I wonder if she saw what's the movie where the babysitter's a witch or whatever, and it's a cartoon.
Oh, it's like how to kill my babysitter, how to train your babysitter.
No.
No, it was like my
Is she a
babysitter's a
vampire?
witch.
My
Oh,
babysitter's
my babysitter's would. Also,
no, there is a
sorry
vampire.
to, hold the phone for just a second. I took a quiz on BuzzFeed to see if I was Trixie or Katya, and it said I'm Katya. So
Interesting.
have you tried mescaline? Mescaline? I don't know. You have, haven't you? You're a funny, sexy queen who may or may not have a warrant for your arrest in Prague. It's okay though, because you're fine AF and they'll never catch you.
You're fine AF. That is so BuzzFeed. You're fine AF and they'll never catch you.
Period.
Mescaline? That's like peyote.
Any whore.
Anyways.
So, are we going into our spooky campus stories?
Yeah. Gabby, start us off.
Okay, I'm gonna start with just like a little basic one. We can dive deeper.
Oh, wait. I'm so sorry. I know I literally just told you to start off. Didn't we both live in Vera our freshman year?
Sure did. Vera? We'll get to fucking Vera. We need to talk about New Hall real quick because New Hall. Okay, so excuse us why we're like geeking out over our buildings on campus, but on campus there's a little mini cemetery, and there's a building called New Hall, which is a dormitory building right in front of it. And like, you would hear spooky stories all the time. One time I was studying on the second floor of New Hall in like the big common study room or whatever. And we were just like hanging out, and I was like, hey, I need to go grab something from my room, like whatever. We were studying for like a test, and I think another girlie, she was like making signs for like bid day or something, some kind of sorority event. And I run to my room, and I like barely open the door, and I stick my head in for like that for some reason. Don't know, because usually I'll just burst into my room. But like I felt weird, so I like opened the door, and my lotion bottle is mid-air in my room, like mid-air in my room. And I was like, whoever's in here, you're not welcome. And all of a sudden it just went on, like back onto the table like that. And I was like, great. So I didn't even go in. I just went, awesome. Closed the door, went back to the study room. And I looked at my friends and I said, all right, guys, I didn't want to freak you out, but like, you got to hear what just happened to me. I explained the whole story, and they're like, oh my God, we're never going to sleep. We're never going back to our rooms. And I was like, girl.
Was it your friends? I mean, I think I know who they were. They're your friends that shared a room and suite with you that year?
They were there, and then there was another girly that was in my sorority that was there. And so we were like all kind of like huddled up, like, you're not gonna believe. And I scared people with that story, because I was like, I've never seen something like mid-air. Like that was like the first time mid-air something was like just there. And I even like went up to, like, after I told the story, I went back in my room and I like went like this on top of the bottle to see if like, something was like hanging it, or like I was like this, like, is it a spider web? Not that that could like hold it, but like
Gabby's like trying to find Gabby's trying to find any irrationally rational explanation. Like,
correct, because I was like, if I'm scaring these people, maybe I should just like go check and make sure I wasn't making shit up. And I'm sitting there like this, nothing. So needless to say, that's probably like the calmest story we'll tell this entire night, or this entire podcast, because it was weird, but
we got some dingers. We got some dingers.
We do.
Some real zingers.
Samuel, what is your first ghost story at Spring Hellion?
Oh, you want my first ghost story?
And let me just also preference, like, I have never heard any of these stories. And anytime I've asked Sam, like, recently, he's kind of, like, deferred me to this episode of the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep,
It's
save it for the
all a
podcast. Save it for the
secret.
podcast.
So these are my like live reactions of being like, what the fuck?
I'm eating another peppermint, so I'm so sorry for the people at home that are listening to this in their
She's just
ears.
minty fresh. That's all.
Oh, I'm gonna spit out my.
I saw that. Oh my god! It
Any
went.
whore.
Wow.
I think my very first ghost encounter ever. We started off real strong my freshman year.
Love that for you.
In good old Virag Hall. Virag. It's spelled.
Girl.
Yeah, it's spelled Viragh. Isn't that right? Yeah. So it's spelled like Virag, but it's called Vera. So we always just called it Virag to be funny. But any whore. Vera was very haunted, and there was like a little cemetery on campus that was for the like church personnel, like for the priests, and for like nuns and sisters and good old, because we went to a Catholic college.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that one was meant to be there, and it was a newer one too, or at least it was like well kept, But there was actually an old cemetery that they just decided to build a building on top of. And whenever you looked at the building on one of the sides that was like closest to the rest of the campus, you could see literally the graves coming out from under the building. And there were still some graves that were like partially covered up and broken up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. That was real fun to find that out. But basically it was the same stuff that Sid was talking about, like where like people are like, oh my God, like there's these ghosts in these dams, and like people would always like pick about it, and like the older kids would always pick about it. But me, I've always been like weird and witchy, like
Right.
And so like whenever I got there, I was like, I'm not scared of any ghosts. And there's always one of those in the movie. You know what I'm saying? There's always that one white person that's like, ghosts don't scare me. I'm psychic. Oh my God.
She got a husband. Don't knock it till you tried it.
Man, if I could have gotten a husband out of not being afraid of ghosts, I mean, come on now. Shit. Anyway, yeah, and honestly, Edward was looking fine those last two movies. I was more of a Jacob girly back in the day. But
I was Team Edward because I wanted Jacob for myself.
Oh, you wanted Bella to end up with Edward.
Yeah, she can have him. Give me Jacob.
I had this really weird to get off topic. I had this really weird whenever I was in high school. It was like a gay awakening, like sex dream about all of the Twilight characters. I wasn't even really big into Twilight in high school. Like, I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't like. I literally now I own like all the books except for like 2, and they're like the side books or whatever. But I just don't have them.
Yeah.
And so, like,
shout out.
Yeah, I have that one. I have that one, but I don't have the Gender Bent one, and I don't have Midnight Sun. But ask me if I've read any of them.
Have you read any of them?
No.
I've read every single book. I own every single book. My mom would not let me go to the movie unless I read the book.
Oh, that's... Why do I like that? I also despise that, but also like it. But anyways.
So like when I'm a parent, noting to self.
Yeah, but also like I have this really weird thing where it's like I want my kids to be productive, my future kids to be productive, but also want them to like have fun and be kids, So I'm just kind of like, oh, where's that balance, But anyways, so yeah, but that was my like gay awakening sex dream. I had a lot of gay awakening moments throughout high school where it was like it should have been my gay awakening, but my little like conservative brainwashed like pray the gay way brain was very like, oh, that's just temptation. You can choose. And so yeah, but that was one of them. Was I had like a weird sex dream about the entire Twilight cast. And when I say entire Twilight cast, I mean like literally men, women, didn't matter. All of them, everywhere. Yeah. But anyways, back to the stories.
All right.
Yeah. But
all right.
Oversharing. Oversharing is overcaring. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Sid. For the people that can't see, they're making hearts toward me. But yeah, anyway, so Vera was literally built on top of the cemetery. And there's this really weird thing. There was actually, I think one of the things you mentioned, Sid, and just to give them a shout out, like I literally mention them all the time, probably like every Weird Wednesday episode just about. And That's Why We Drink is my favorite podcast to listen to. And they did an episode about haunted dorm rooms. at some point, it was like I listened to it a while back, but they did theirs wasn't really a like personal account. Theirs was like a full deep dive on like lore and the psychology behind it and all this other stuff. And so that's why I was like, oh, I want to tell some of my like haunted dorm room stories, you know? And so in that episode, they did talk a little bit about how some of the like lore about like built on a like Indian burial ground and stuff like that, or Native American burial ground, how some of it's like still rooted in colonialism, where it's like people are just like trying to make it seem scarier by saying it's a Native American burial ground. It's like, that's what? Like, what? There's no fact behind that, you know? But no, like Vera was literally built on top of a cemetery. I don't think it was a Native American like burial ground or whatever, but it was literally a cemetery. Like you can see it when you walk up to one side of it. And so of course I was like, wow, like I'm not scared of ghosts, but let me tell you, my little like Pisces sun fucking literally, I was like, oh my God, this is my moment. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, you know, like where I'm like, I get to be a witch, you know. But anyways, so of course I wasn't scared. I was more like, yes, I want there to be a haunting, like just to be completely honest. But yeah, no, I did not want there to be a haunting because creepy things did start happening. So the first things that started happening in Vera was that I'd wake up in the middle of the night to feeling like there was someone grabbing me. And like when I say grabbing me, I literally would like feel like a hand on my like arm and it would just squeeze. And then as I woke up, I would feel like kind of like release, but it didn't feel like it was like letting go. It felt like it was like losing a grip on my hand and like the hand was going through my arm, if that makes sense. Like it was fading through and then would disappear. And I was like, what in the world? And so I started asking around and being like, is anybody else like waking up to this? And I asked my roommate and he was like, no. And so there was a point where he kept saying like, no, I didn't hear, or like, I know nothing like grabbed me or anything like that. But then there was one night that he said that he heard like a girl talking and he thought there was this girl that he was kind of like involved with. And he thought that somehow she got into the room. And so he was like, assumed that it was her. But then the moment that like he like kind of came out of sleep and looked, he saw a girl like standing like kind of next to my bed. And then as he fully woke up, like she went away and disappeared. And he was like, that's weird. He was like a really big skeptic. So he of course told me, but he was like, I think it was just like a dream, you know, like from hearing you like ask so much, blah, blah, whatever else. So I started asking around and nobody, like all the people I asked to start with were people on the opposite side because Vera is built like around this little courtyard area that it like mirrors another hall that's like an upperclassman hall.
Yeah, it's like two C's looking at each other.
Mm-hmm. And so the people I was asking was like on the other side of the courtyard area that lived in like of Vera. And so all of them were like, no, like I haven't really seen anything, heard anything. And so one of the RAs like heard me asking and was like, what is it that's going on? I was like, well, I just keep having this like weird incident. So like I'm wanting to see if anybody else is. And they're like, oh, well, you're asking on the wrong side of the courtyard. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, only people on your side of the courtyard on the first 2 floors like experience this. And I was like, what? And so I started asking some of the girls that were, and because it was a co-ed dormitory, but like you would be sectioned off by like hall. So like my like hall was an all boy hall and like only the boys could access it. Like it was like you had to walk in from the outside to get into the hall and you had like specific keys for it. And so I just asked the girls that were on my floor, on my wing, in our pod is what we called it because it was like pod living where you had shared an interest with all the people that lived in your area. And so I started asking them and they were like, oh my gosh, yeah, no, like we are waking up in the middle of the night to feeling like someone like grabbing us. And they were like, and we've actually started having bruises, like waking up with bruises. And they would show me like on the back of their arm. And I was like, that's exactly where I'm being grabbed. And so for some reason, it was only the girls and me. And I'm like,
oh my
y'all
God.
homophobic. Y'all homophobic. This ghost homophobic. But anyway, so
this building is messed up. I'll get there.
And so I was like, oh my God. And so and they showed me, but it would be literally, you could see like a handprint, but only the thumb part would be bruised. And so I was like, that's so weird. And I pulled up my arm and I had one too. And I was like, actually, I think it was this arm. It was this arm. But still, I was like, so yeah, so that was one thing. And then after that too, of course, I started getting a little wigged out then. And so, this is when, you know, like those friends to enemies stories in like TV shows. Mm-hmm. This was one of my moments, a friend to enemies moment, where it was somebody that I met at my orientation that I was just like really cool, like really close with, like we really hit it off. And then like this was the moment where we stopped being friends. It was really weird. But yeah. So basically, there was a group of freshmen so there are tunnels that run underneath Spring Hill College. And they're like big, like concrete drainage tunnels that run all throughout Mobile, like underground. And but there was access to them on Spring Hill College's campus. And so Spring Hill College was like supposed to have closed off all access, like they thought they did, quote unquote, but they didn't, and students would still go down there all the time. And so there was a group of like upperclassmen that were taking some of the freshmen down there just so that they could see it. And when I was down there, I kept getting really lightheaded and dizzy. And there was like this person that was down there that they I don't know how they identify now, so I'm just going to say they, them. But they were also pagan and witchy, but they like had this really weird practice where they would like literally let spirits like possess them and use their body as like a vessel to speak through, quote unquote. Yeah. And so we went down there together, and I kept getting really lightheaded and dizzy, and I kept hearing this like girl humming throughout the tunnel, and I was like, where is this coming from? And it was just making me really like nauseous and dizzy, and literally like a scene
Hell no.
like a scene out of a horror movie. I go to like step down into like one of the drop downs for the tunnel where you have to like step down into this open area to get into another one. And whenever I did, I heard the humming, and when I turned around, this person, like the person that was with us that's also weird and witchy, was standing like right there, and I was like, it scared me. And I like almost fell out of the tunnel, and they grabbed me, and they were like, "You're hearing it too, aren't you?" And I was like, "No, get away from me!" Like, yeah.
No, yeah.
And this person ended up being like public enemy number one on Spring Hill College's campus because nobody liked them, and like they ended up like getting kind of bullied. I'll call it like it is. They got bullied on like social media, but it's because like I'm never one of those people. Like Gabby and I did a whole full episode, like one of our actual episodes in season 2 about bullying. It's never okay to bully people. This is one incident where I'm like, I don't have as much empathy for the person being bullied. Still not okay. I'm not going to condone bullying, but they were a bully themselves, and they had a tendency to like just bully the hell out of people and like make people uncomfortable, turn tons of people against them. Like it was just, they had a whole history of it. And so they ended up like one day, somebody just on social media, it was on Kick. I don't know if y'all remember Kick or not.
Oh
was
my God. What?
No, it wasn't Kick. It wasn't Kick. It wasn't Kick. It was, what was it? Yak. The like where like you anonymously post things.
Yeah.
And somebody anonymously posted about this person and was like, this person is like one of the most god-awfully annoyingest people in the entire world, and I just want to punch them in the effing face. And literally like hundreds of people came on and was like, I'm glad somebody said it, and like literally was like, and they were like, they're a bully, they're mean, they like literally got, and just like started like you know like going in. And so of course that person like found out and got all upset. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But this person just had a history of being like a little wonky, a little wacky, and just pathological liar. Like they like lied about like so much stuff. But so it was even weirder that they were like, you can hear it too, can't you? And I was like, what? You know? So, yeah. Anyway, so I make it out of the tunnels, and there was another friend that was like really weirded out about the whole thing, like the whole interaction or whatever, and was like, don't come talk to me, don't blah blah blah. And I was like, why? And I went over to their dorm room anyways because I had a friend that lived over there that was like, just come over here and talk, like it'll be fine. And I was like, okay. So whenever I went over there, that person got mad at me, and like it was a whole like started a whole like almost rivalry, but they were also a bully, and they like just really tormented me throughout school. It was the whole thing. But anyway, so that was like a weird incident where it was like a ghost thing caused drama in a friend group. But yeah, anyway,
The Sam things.
yeah. But with that, there was like basically the girl that was in the tunnels was like a separate ghost. And I'll like I'll go more onto her later. But we ended up finding out that the girl that everybody was seeing in the actual dorm room, there were two of them. There was a younger girl and there was an older like teenage girl. And we found like what we think was their graves like coming out of the like out front of the building, because there were two girls that were like very young when they died. And it was like 1800s. Like it was a long time ago. And so basically though, the younger one was the one that would like grab you in your sleep. but the older one was the one that was like scaring the shit out of people. And like literally like, yeah, people would like randomly wake up to hearing like a girl scream in their room. And like, yeah, it was so crazy. And so the last time I had like really ever had like a strong interaction with them, it was that there was a power outage on campus one day because there was like a really bad storm. And I was getting that really weird, like nauseous, lightheaded feeling again. And I kept hearing like a girl talking out in the hallway. And I was like, who is this? And I walk out in the hallway and I look down the hall and I see a girl like just standing like this, like at the end of the hall. For the people listening and not watching, like it's just that typical like scary movie stance where it's like someone's just kind of sitting with their like arms dropped in front of them and like their head is kind of turned down and they're looking like through their forehead almost, like looking, you know, and glaring, and their hair is like in their face. Yeah. So
that's the Stanley Kubrick eyes.
Huh?
That's
Yes.
the Stanley Kubrick eyes, like in The Shining, how Jack is like.
Yeah. And so
mm-hmm.
And so
Jenny Ortega in Wednesday as well.
Huh?
Sorry, I the ADD compelled to share. Jenny Ortega does the Kubrick eyes in Wednesday.
I like Wednesday. So
It was a good one.
But yeah, so the last interaction that we had was that day whenever I saw like one of the girls standing at the edge of the hallway, and it like the world got really weird and glitchy. Like that's the only way I know how to describe it. And like she like turned, but it was like she glitched when she turned and she walked into my friend's room. And so I walked down to like his room and like the white person I am, and like knocked on the door and it just opened by itself. And when I looked in the room, nobody was in there except for his girlfriend was asleep like on the bed, on the top bunk, like dead to the world asleep. There's no way she would have been able to jump up there that quick, like, you know. And so I was just like, no, thank you. For some reason after that, I didn't really have much more interaction from her. And the hands on the like people waking up to feeling the hands like stopped. But that was also closer to the end of the school year. So yeah, that was one fun story. I'll let Gabby take it away.
That one always gets me when you tell it, because I'm always just like, what the actual like heck? But I lived in Vera. I lived on the 3rd floor, closest to the street, and we were a girl pod on this part and a guy pod on the other part, and we didn't get a whole lot on the 3rd floor. God bless. Don't know why, but the 2nd floor, the girlies on the 2nd floor, we were good friends with, and they probably could tell you more stories than I could about Vera, but they literally had the hand marks as well. This is, you know, the next year after Sam, so he wasn't even in that building anymore. And they would always like come up to me and be like, what do we do? Like, there's a little girl everywhere. Like, we don't know where she's coming from, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, girls, like, let's just like calm down. Like, let's go explore. So we would go no, seriously, like, because they were freaking
calm
out.
down.
Let's calm down. Well, no, because like when you're dealing with this type of stuff and you're used to dealing with this type of stuff, you're like, okay, let's calm down. Let's not freak out, because I will freak out if they're freaking out. So one time I went in there and I felt like very heavy energy in the 2nd floor pod that they were in. And then I was like, you know what? It's probably nothing. Went to sleep. And the next day they were like, Gabby, you're not going to believe what we found under my bed. And we were like, what? And some students or whatever, I don't know, drew a whole Ouija board on the bottom of the bed. And I was like, y'all need to like get out of there. You need to sage your room. You need a new bed. Like, so like on the end of like, I guess they had like some kind of like wooden bottom. And like when they flipped it over or looked under, someone drew out a full Ouija board in there.
And you know what's so crazy too? I forgot about that. That was what they said, like started all of it years before I went there. So they apparently had already taken that bed out of that dorm, like too. And that's why it was so weird, because the priest didn't they come back in and like replace the bed and they like did like bless the room or whatever. Like they had already done that process before.
Yeah, those souls are very stuck in that building. It's very scary in there. I did not like it. I know one time on the bottom floor, there's kind of like a little rec room. They got like a ping pong table. They got a TV in there. whatever. There's big
Ugh,
tables that you
I
can hang
miss
out
that
in.
big hangout room. Oh my gosh.
Well, did you see the portrait outside of the room?
Did I? What was it?
I can't remember who, but it was literally this like old man, and it was the creepiest picture ever. And I always thought that it was breathing when I would go past.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's there anymore because I think they got rid of it after we left. So I don't know. But yeah, no, Vera was not my favorite place. But I want to tell the one that was in Mobile Hall where me and Sam were in or in his room, and I was
Girl, hold on.
freaking out.
Wait.
We
Because-
cannot. I want to tell that one. Or you
Oh
can
my
tell it
God.
and I'll come on because you probably
Well, no, because
better
there's
details.
so much that happened. So if you didn't listen to the last was it the last Weird Wednesday? Mine and Sid's Weird Wednesday? Was that the most recent one?
Yes.
Yeah. So that one kind of is the prequel to this one, I guess, because I told you in that. I don't know if I can't remember if I told you in the recording or after Sid, but like that like demon from that like dream continued to like come into my dreams and stuff like that, and I continued to have like really weird stuff that happened after that.
Yeah.
Like that entire summer, weird things was happening like at my house, like where I'd go to turn a lamp off and the lamp would just explode. Like if I brought my mom in here and asked her, hey, do you remember that summer when this happened? She'd be like, yeah. Like there were at least 3 or 4 lamps that literally when I went to turn them off, they exploded. There were also weird things where like I'd enter a room, and as I entered the room, the door would like move with me, or like whenever I'd like go to like open a door, it would just open before I touched it. Weird. Yeah, it was like lots of weird things were happening. And so whenever I went back to school that year, is whenever Gabby had this interaction with like the thing that she wants to share that I'm like, that's real vulnerable for me. But you know what? Go for it. Go ahead,
Well,
Gabby.
And you have to also know that before the story was even told to y'all, I had no idea. I was
Mhm.
like very much like intuitively getting like signs and things like that. I was like really growing in my spiritual life. Like this was a very vulnerable point for me,
Mhm.
in the sense of like I just sensed things and would be like freaked out or like I wouldn't know or whatever. So one day we were at Sam's place. We were just hanging. I think did we do card readings before or after?
I think it
I think
literally
it was
happened in the
before.
middle because
Yeah.
also like someone else that we won't name just because we didn't get their permission, but someone else was there too.
Yeah, it was me, Sam, and another individual, and we were all hanging out. We went there for card readings because we love to do it, and we were both learning, like, just like the history behind it, how to read, all that good stuff. We were really trying to understand it. And we were all hanging out, and all of a sudden in the middle of the reading, I went, who's here? And Sam's looking at me like, in here? No one's in here.
No.
Why? And I
No.
went, no, Sam. Literally, if I go straight out of, oh my gosh, there's a plastic bag in the wind as I'm talking about this. Sorry, I might have 2 windows right next to me. So
Do
like,
you ever feel
Katy
like a
Perry?
plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start
you know
again?
what? I can't do this buffoonery today. Anyway, so I was like looking, like literally, this is how it looked in my brain. You good?
I was trying to do like haunting music in the background, but to like fireworks, where it's just like what I was just like,
Do you ever feel just so paper thin, like a house of cards?
Ooh, spooky song.
Baby, you're fine.
It's
Yeah,
like,
just like get the sound.
like tiptoe through the window, but it's fireworks.
Oh my gosh.
Baby,
frightening.
you're fine.
Sam's internally freaking out as I'm telling this story. This is his coping mechanism. I want everyone to know.
Sam's being avoidant right now. For me to be, what is it, a secure attachment style? I'm being very avoidant. Like,
Yeah, this is very avoidant for you, but that's okay. No, so pretty much like I was like, okay, someone's here, and he was like, no one's here, and I was like, no. And like literally how it felt in my brain was that like I was looking out his window, like, but it was facing the other direction. So it wasn't the window that was actually in the room. But like I was looking through the window and like all the way like mid forest, I could see this being. And it was just the scariest, like I don't even want to describe it because it freaks me out, but like it was the creepiest thing. I was like, Sam, does he have this? Like, does this have this? Is he about this tall? Blah, 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 blah. And Sam's like, yep, I'll take care of it. I said, I don't know what that means, but you need to get them out because my body, like, I was like in his, like, I was sitting in his bed originally and I was like normal. And all of a sudden I'm like cornered in the bed. Like, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. And it was very terrifying. I just like cannot believe it followed you that far.
Well, also like the other person that was in the room said you look terrified.
I literally started crying when you
I'm
said
gonna
that. Like, I don't know if you saw
It's me through the wig.
but like maybe that was, I can tell how frightened that made you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the third person
terrifying.
the third person that was with us that night too, he even like right before Gabby was like, who else is here? He was like, you could tell he was just like very like, which he's a very like dramatic, flamboyant, like fun person to be around anyways, but he was just like that and gasped. And I was like, what's wrong? And Gabby was like all of a sudden just like, who else is here?
Dude,
And like
I think
he
I
like, you
know.
know, like they
It
both at
was
the same time like started
so
really
scary. It was so scary. And like, thank God we were burning sage and all that jazz, because that definitely made me feel better. Like that made me feel like we were somewhat like okay. But like looking into this like being, I was just like, I cannot even breathe right. Like I was having like I was literally like I could not, like I was like stuttering my breathing because it was so scary.
You know, we're really outing me as how dark-sided I am.
You know what? Shit just happens, unfortunately.
It's dark-sided. You know, not that the lady that like was on that, what is it, the Trading Moms or Mom Swap or whatever on TLC, when she was like, they've got, what was it she was talking about? She was like upset because the family that she was with had crystals or something like that, and she like freaked out, and she was like, it's dark-sided. It's dark-sided.
Oh my god. No, I was
They're not
thinking
even Christians.
see, I was thinking dark side of the moon.
Oh my gosh. No. Get out of my face. Get out of politely. Get out of my
Let's
face.
get down to business, you guys.
Let's get
To
down to
defeat
business.
the Huns.
Mm.
Did
Yeah.
they send me daughters? Anyway, yeah, no, it was very
Sexist.
terrifying.
Oh my gosh, that like anything with like Sam's, and like I'm gonna be very general here, but like anything with like Sam and like spooky things that Sam is experiencing or like that Sam has like told me about, anything to do with like dark forest, like tall boy beings or like catacomb, like, and like it just, for some reason I don't have an image in my head, but there's like an energetic feeling in my head anytime, Sam, that you start to tell me those stories, and it like strikes absolute fear in my heart.
Is it like a staticky feeling back here? Like at the back of your head, like kind of like on the back of your neck and like going into your ears?
No, but
Mm.
I would say that it's kind of concentrated there.
Mhm.
It's like a sweaty. It's like a sweaty,
Oh.
like almost like there's a sweaty ghost hand on the back of my neck. 'Cause it's a light feeling, but it's
Mhm.
like very much like a fear sweat. Or even like the scent of fear. Like, you know,
Mm.
when you get really scared and you start sweating and it has that like weird sweat smell?
Hmm.
It's like that on the back of my neck.
I don't think I've ever been that afraid.
What?
I said I don't think I've ever been that afraid.
Oh, I totally have been. I get I'm right there with you.
I whenever, which we talk, I mentioned this literally in the episode that I recorded last week too with Manel, but whenever that trigger warning, everybody shooting, active shooter, whenever that shooting happened down in Mobile, whenever I was down there, like I like my friends saw like that I was there with, they saw like how I get like in moments of crisis and like moments of like fear and stuff like that, because like I don't like I have a certain point of fear where I just like disassociate and I go into like a weird survival state, and like where I just like something takes over me. Like I know that sounds really weird, but like it happens. So like I've never really experienced that. Well, no, that's not true. I have experienced like extreme fear one time. Do I want to tell that story today? It's not a haunted dorm room, but I mean this is a horror hump day. I
Up to
won't.
you.
I'll save it. I'll save it. But basically, long story short, it's a I was chased by something like out of the woods at the house that like I currently live in, but whenever I was like really young, and it scared me so badly that my jaw locked up. And I have TMJ, so like my jaw like locks up sometimes. Like literally, I was on a video call the other night with Morgan and Haley, and they asked me a question. I went to respond, and right whenever I did, my jaw locked up, and like I couldn't respond, and they could hear. Like I was just on FaceTime, and so I didn't have any headphones in or anything like that, and I had to like literally like pry my mouth open to like get it to unlock, and they heard like the loud pop, and so that was the first time that my jaw ever locked up, and like I guess what kind of led to me finding out that I had TMJ, but I literally was so scared that I like screamed, and when I did, like my jaw locked up, and so but I didn't sweat. Like I just like screamed and like my body like tensed up. But yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's mostly been like me waking up from really bad nightmares. It's that like I'll wake up in a cold sweat and I
Well,
can
see,
it's that like
I'm a sweaty boy, so
Mhm.
I sweat a lot anyway. So I
Mhm.
don't think I have different types of sweat. I just sweat.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, I can like thinking about it right now. And at Halloween Horror Nights I can't speak to the one that happens in Florida, but at least in Hollywood that they do at Universal Studios,
Mhm.
they'll put like that scent. They'll like distill it, like get something that's kind of similar to it, and they'll put that scent in their haunted houses.
Oh my gosh.
Kind of when I like correlated, I was like, wait a second. This because they'll also put like the scent of death. It's horrible. But
That's kind of genius.
it's really
Well, they do that in Disney World too, but they do it on a mass scale where they'll put certain scents in certain parks. Like they just have scents everywhere to like make you want to be like make you feel like you're in that area or make you feel like you need a drink or make you feel like
and also scent is your longest lasting memory. So like everyone has if anyone's been to like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at any Disneyland, like they'll know what that smell is like.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's freaking scary.
That's spooky ooky.
Mhm.
What other stories do we want to tell? Hey, chill. Sorry, my dog started stretching and he literally has no concept of spatial awareness whatsoever, probably because he's a dog, but he will stretch and he'll like wrap himself up in the wires that go to my like computer and my monitor and like pull them and like in the middle of me like in the middle of a video call just like unplug everything, and I'm like, oh, that's lovely, thank you. I'm but yeah, so he started like pulling the cords and I was like, hey, stop that. But yeah, so I mean, I have plenty of stories I could tell from good old Thrill.
Tell one more good one. One more
Okay,
like
I'm trying to
real
think
like
if I wanna. Gabby, did you ever hear about the slab?
nah. Nah.
Yeah. Nah.
Mar. Clear.
Cleo. Cleo, I need to get out of the water.
The condensation. Clear.
The
Mar.
condensation.
But yeah. So there was this. So there was this person. Oh wait, I wonder. I'm gonna say his name because we would know him. He's a reoccurring person on the podcast. I just didn't get his permission to tell the story, so I'm gonna message him and see. And if he says no, then I'm just gonna bleep out all of this. But I mean, I'll bleep out his name. So if he's cool with me saying his name, it's Chase, good old Chasey boy that has been on both episodes of the opioid crisis from season 1 and season 2. He also went to Spring Hill with us, and there was a moment when he told me about this concrete slab that was on Spring Hill College's golf course. And this golf course is like a big golf course that's like on Spring Hill College's campus. And it goes all throughout like the hills and the forest and all kinds of stuff on Spring Hill College's campus.
Huge.
Yeah. Beautiful too. Absolutely stunning. Gorgeous. But and students are not supposed to just go wandering out there. So complete disclaimer, this is not something Spring Hill College allows. It's just students do it, you know. But
Been there, done that.
yeah.
Rode the roller coaster, literally.
What?
Oh, that's a different story for a different day. Anyways,
I was about to say,
continue.
was there a roller coaster on Spring Hill College's campus?
No, but there was one that was unspoken.
What?
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it's not horror hump day.
Gabby is like unearthing. Is it a Greek life thing?
No.
Oh, because
No.
I felt like I knew all of the fun secrets of Spring Hill, but now I'm like, damn, I guess I didn't. Thanks for letting me in on the story or on the secret while I was there, Gabby. Damn.
Sorry, brother.
It's okay. I forgive you. But anyways, so
For the slab.
Yeah, the slab. So he tells me about this one time whenever he and some of his friends were out there on the golf course walking around, and they found this like concrete slab that they said that basically it was like a weird feeling of like they were out just walking around like students did all the time, but they kept on finding themselves being like drawn to a certain space into a certain area, and they said that it felt like time was like not operating the same and space wasn't operating the same, that they kept ending up back in like the same spot no matter what direction they went in, and they were like getting lost. And like Spring Hills College's like golf course is very large. You wouldn't get lost if it was daytime, but at nighttime, very easy to get lost. Very, very easy to get lost. And they were walking around, and they said that they kept on like finding themselves back at the same space. And basically they finally like realized the spot they were going into, it was like that they kept like finding themselves at. It was like this clearing that like it was like two like patches of forest come together, and they could hear water running, and they could kind of see like a stream over from the left. And so they decided to go ahead and go over there, but they said that the slab was just very Athens, stop. Sorry, he's doing it again. I'm going to move this because I don't want to take a chance of them unplugging stuff. Anyways, stop that. All right. So, sorry, I lift it back up and I just see like a vape just leaving Sid's mouth.
Sorry about that.
A Dargan. She's a Dargan. Anyways, I'm going to put the dragon filter on for this one real quick. Hold on. Where are we at? So for the people watching, you're going to get to see a dragon behind me. Where's it at? There it is. Anyways, so yeah, so we're on the so he said that they all just kept feeling drawn back to the space, and it ended up being this like clearing that there was like a stream that kind of ran through it and everything. And he said that he kept feeling like he could just hear this like woman humming, and it was like drawn, like the closer he got, like the more drawn in he felt. And it's been years since he told me this story, so it's like I could be like misremembering certain things and stuff. I just know that for a fact, like he felt very drawn to it, and that they all had really weird experiences that were all different when they decided to step forward into the clearing. But basically, I can't remember if he said that when they walked in that they like, whenever they all had different experiences, I'm pretty sure he said that they like couldn't see each other. All they could see was like the experience they were having. And then that they like came back later, like during the daytime, and found this concrete slab. But basically he said that he felt this like weird out of body thing where it's like he felt like he was there for like just a few minutes, but like an hour passed while he was there. And I think that might have been whenever he like zoned it back in, like he realized he was standing in the middle of this concrete slab. And it was just like this big slab that like connected the two patches of land that the stream ran under, and those trees led to it. But you wouldn't see the slab unless you were like right there on it. And so, but he said that like he just remembered one of his friends literally started freaking out, and that's what snapped him back into like reality. And they all just like ran. But it was just this really weird feeling. And he said that I can't remember exactly what he said his experience was or what other people's experiences was, but one of them, there was definitely someone that saw like the woman, and she was like being really weird, and like it wasn't him. I want to say it was one of his friends that he was with, but she was being like really weird and trigger warning, like very sexually like aggressive with him, but like in a very demonic kind of way. Like it was very weird. Yeah, and it freaked him out really bad. And then there was like he just like I remember he said that he just felt very dissociated and out of body. Like he didn't feel like there were parts where he like questioned if he was alive because he like didn't feel connected to Earth anymore, and he felt like something had like taken his soul. It was very And then there was like another friend that was with him, but it was a really weird experience. And so, of course, like the white person that I am, I decided to go looking for this slab.
I was about to say, where is it?
Yeah. And so I honestly could not explain to you how to get there, but I could take you there. Like if we were ever back on Spring Hill College's campus, I could definitely show you where it was at. But
No.
Sid's like, no, thank you. No, thanks.
No, none of that.
I'm just
None of that.
curious. I'm just curious.
Well, during the daytime, it like nothing happens. It's only at nighttime. But yeah, so we all went out there and I did find the slab. And what's so weird is that like I went the same way that he said that he went, and I didn't find it to start with. Like I had to stumble on it the same way that he did. But when I very first started looking for it, I literally sat out there for hours. It was me and another one of my friends that like we had a little reputation for ourselves where it was like if there was anything weird and witchy and spooky or like anything ghosty, you came to us and told us and we'd go take care of it. So like we'd go like get rid of stuff and everything. And so we sat out there and kept walking, looking for hours. And we finally found a concrete slab and we were like, this has to be it. But like, it didn't feel the same. And we found a completely different ghosty situation there. And I was like, this doesn't seem like what he was talking about. And so I told him where we found it. And he's like, that's not where it's at. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, because the one that we found didn't have any water around it. And I was like, okay. Cause I was about to say this one was not like the same way that you were talking about. So we eventually just like decided to go during the day and we found it, but like nothing weird happened. And it was like, we had to like go at night. So we ended up just giving up because we were like, all right, obviously we're just not going to find it. And then we ended up stumbling on it. Like one night when we were just out like walking on the golf course, I think I was with a completely different set of friends and we ended up finding it. And literally one of my friends was like, and it's one of my friends that like does not get like spooked out or anything like that over stuff like this. But he literally was like, I don't like this. This feels weird. Something feels off. And like my other friend who was like a big skeptic, didn't believe in ghosts or anything like that. She was like, I feel like we're being watched. And I was like, oh, okay, time to go. Like, yeah. So yeah, but the slab is a very big, like, I guess like folk tale, but not really folk tale because we all saw it with our own eyes, you know? But yeah, that's a fun one. It's a real zinger.
Cindy's like, I'm done.
So it's like, get y'all's ghosty shit out of here. Like,
she goes, that's it, no more.
Well, it's because all of my ghost stories, the only ghost story I even have is in the Hollywood Hills when I was 8 years old. Me and my mom saw these two men in our hallway, and they were in black and white. They had no color to them. And like you could see through them. They were translucent. And it was a short, kind of stout man and a taller man in a top hat. And we saw them and my mom started freaking out and then they disappeared. And like that's my only ghost story. So mine are friendly and not scary and horrible and make you feel weird. Mine are like, oh, it's a kooky little ghost in the corner over there. Hi, ghosty.
I mean, I have lots of ghost like interactions, but those are the ones, all of the scary ones I feel like happened at college, which is like very well, I've had a few not at college, but not as intensely as like Sam's stories, but
and that's why I live off campus.
Well, there was a friend of mine that lived in one of the senior apartments, and she had this ghost that just like lived in her apartment with them. And it like he just stayed in like one of the areas like back toward one of the like bathrooms.
I love that.
Oh my god!
Love.
And like the Portier place. It used to be a it's like some of the upperclassmen housing and like summer housing, and it used to be a nursing home or assisted living home. So like you'll see, but those ghosts in there, they're just like fun. Like they pull pranks on you a lot.
Yeah, they're nice. They're not.
Yeah, they're just like all like kooky fun. Like it's old people that just died there that are like, all these young people here, I'm gonna mess with them. You know, like literally they'll just like take your keys and like hide them. And then if you if you ask them out loud, you're like, I'm running late, can you please give me my keys back? You'll hear your keys drop on a counter and you'll turn around and look, and there they are. So like it's like fun little things like that where it's like, you know that they're there, but they're like not wanting to hurt you. They're just like wanting to like mess with you, you know, and pull jokes on you.
And those are the kind of ghosts that I'm manifesting for the rest of my life.
So it's like, if I have to have a ghost encounter, this is the one I'm wanting. Like,
yeah. I'm just gonna speak it into existence, just in case there's any ghosts listening.
like, you're welcome as long as you only do fun, tame things like that. Okay, thank you.
But I also, and like I know we're kind of getting to the end of our time, but like any time that I feel like there's a ghosty presence, I'll be sure that I introduce myself and I'll say, hey, listen up. I can feel that there's something going on here. I'm not going to mess with you. Don't mess with me. I'll completely leave you alone. Let me know what you need. If I can help, I will. I'm not going to do anything. So don't try and ask me to do anything because you're stuck. I'm stuck too. We all have our situations. Okay.
Like, I am not your unfinished business. Like,
no. If you need some water, or like if you like that drawer to stay open, that's fine.
You just let me know, but don't.
Yeah, otherwise, let's mind our own business.
Don't look at me. Don't smell me. Don't come talk to me. Don't look at me. No.
And meanwhile, I guess to end with too, I could talk about the ghosts that were in Mobile Hall.
Sure.
So there were a few ghosts that were like reoccurring in Mobile Hall. They were all chill though, but like they were spooky, but like not in like a, like there was one, her name was Abigail, or at least that's what I call her, and she was this little girl that I would see throughout my like time in Mobile Hall, and a lot of people would see her too, but they couldn't see her for very long, and so there was this time where it was cute, but it was also like it scared me, you know. I would like, whenever I would get ready to go to sleep at night, I just like watch videos on my phone. This was like pre-TikTok, but I just watched like videos on YouTube or something like that, or like on social media or on Snapchat. And I kept seeing something moving out of the corner of my eye. And like our beds were like single beds. It was kind of lifted up. So like somebody could like sit there and like look, you know, right next to your face, you know. And I was sitting like this and I kept on like scrolling and I kept seeing something move out of the corner of my eye, but I would go to look and it would just be dark. And finally at one point I like turned and shone my like phone light like that. And I saw her and I went like that. And then because I could see her, it scared her. And she went like that and like disappeared. And I was like, no. I was like, you're fine. It's okay. I was like, you can come back. And like, she just kind of like peeked back and like, it literally was like, she like came back into the room out of nothingness. And she was just like looking at me and I was like, you're okay. I was like, are you just wanting to watch my like phone, my videos? And she was like, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And so we just had a thing where like every once in a while she'd just pop up and watch videos with me. And other people started seeing her in my room. Like Gabby saw her one time. And I had a friend that she is kind of spiritual, kind of ghosty, but like, or kind of like witchy, but like she's like also, she was raised Christian and she's still like very Christian, but just very like open-minded, very like go with the flow, whatever. And she was a teacher. And she was like, oh, I wish I could like see this little girl, like, you know, because she loves kids. And I was like, well, you could probably like interact with her. Like, I mean, she's not like, she's skittish around other people, but she's like chill around me and like anybody that I have with me. And she was like, okay, like tell her to like, you know, tell her to like touch me and see if I can feel where she touches me. And I was like, she can literally hear you. And so she just did it. And she reached down and grabbed my friend's hand. And my friend was like, oh my God. And like, she felt it. And I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah. And she was like, I feel like a cold little hand on my hand. And she like, grabbed her hand and held it. And she was like, hi, it's so sweet. And like, nice to meet you, sweetie. Like, it was really sweet. Like, it was a very like endearing moment where like, cause Abigail never spoke. Like, I don't know why I called her Abigail. It's just something I felt like her name was Abigail, you know? And so, but she like never spoke, but she just like smiled and it was really cute. And then there was this guy that I called the Running Man. And it's because he literally did nothing but run. And he'd run through the dorm rooms. Like he'd like enter your room from one wall and go out the other. And like, I would see him, like it happened regularly, like at least like, if not every other day, at least like a couple of times a week, you just see him and go like run through, and it would just be a man and he'd run in front of your window, like on the inside of the dorm room, like in one wall, out the other. And I literally was like, I wonder if this is just in my room. But I lived in Mobile Hall twice. I lived in there once my junior year and once my senior year. And I lived in 2 separate rooms. And I saw him both rooms. And Abigail found me in my second room too. Like she like came in there after, like it took her a little bit of time, but like she eventually like kind of poked her head in one day and looked at me, and I was like, hi. And she was like, like it was real cute because you could tell she had been kind of like looking around for me, like she knew she knew I was there, but she was like, where is this man at? And so when she found me, she was like, but the running man, he would just like, and so eventually I just like started saying hey to him, and like whenever he'd run in, I'd be like, hey, running man, bye, running man, like that. But other people started seeing him too after I pointed it out. People were like, okay, I'd randomly get this weird like rush, like somebody ran through my room, and they're like, but I never knew what it was. And so eventually people started noticing him, and people started noticing him in my room too, like Gabby did. And so I was like, okay, like I'm not crazy. Other people are experiencing this too. And I'm trying to think, there was also this like other ghost that it was really weird. Like he was spooky, but he never did anything to hurt you. It would be like, you know how like if you're in a really big space that's kind of echoey and like there's like maybe staircases or whatever, and like you can hear someone else there, but it's not that they're talking, it's just you can like hear their presence, if that makes sense. Like you hear the echoes of them like walking, moving around, stuff like that. And like you would see him sometimes too, but you could never quite get a full glimpse of him. Like you'd walk into a hallway and just see him exiting the hallway, and like you could hear him walking around and stuff like that. Like it was like he was there, but he would stay just enough far away from you to where like you couldn't get good eyes on him. And it was like you two would just kind of stay in a loop where it's like you'd follow him and he'd like walk. Yeah, it was very, yeah. So those were the 3 main ghosts. I'm trying to think, I feel like I'm forgetting one. But that hall was like really chill. Like it was very like, I know that I'm saying it was very chill, but like after I just said there were 3 ghosts, but the ghosts there were chill for the most part. And there was a little boy that Abigail would play with sometimes, but he was a little bit younger than her, so he was like more like not toddler, like a little bit older than toddler age, and she was probably like 10, 12, like somewhere between there, and so he probably was like 5 or 6. So, but they would play together sometimes, but he wasn't there all the time. It was just sometimes. So. Yeah, those were the ghosts of Mobile Hall.
That is so spooky.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah. And I miss Abigail. I haven't seen her since I graduated, but I did tell her, I was like, I'm leaving. I was like, but you can come visit me wherever you want to. Like, we've been friends for like 2 years now. Like, just find my energy. And she just smiled and nodded. But I think she just likes being in Mobile Hall. So she likes to people watch. I mean, what else would you do as a 12-year-old girl? You know?
Also, in a college dorm, I would like to people watch as well.
I can see that being like a 12-year-old little girl's like dream, like be a little peeping Tom and like a mobile, and like, like just nosy, like, like, what are you doing? What do you have under there? Like,
bruh.
Yeah.
It's so
I mean,
funny.
consent is sexy, but whenever you're a 12-year-old little ghost, like, what can you do? Like,
true.
just don't touch.
Yeah.
Consent.
It's the interaction.
Yeah, because like that girl that was touching people in Vera Hall, nah. It's like they're grabbing the hand. No, thank you. That's where it like gets like, I'm like, I don't mind seeing the ghosties. It's whenever they start touching, that's when I'm like, no, thank you. No, thanks.
No.
Because like, and I think about that sometimes too, where I'm like, what are ghosts just like watching me? Like whenever I'm naked, and then I'm like, well, that's their problem. They're weird. Like that's on them, like that. I'm not doing anything wrong. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I'm just a human being, like changing or like taking a shower. Like if they're watching me, that's on them. That's their problem, like.
No, for real. Yeah, I don't know. I try to ignore the fact that there's like ghosts in here now, and like there's ghost in my room at home and blah blah blah. Because I don't like. No, but also like I kind of think it's like, how like medical professionals, they'll be like, well, like it's just the body, like I'm just at work. Like I feel like that's kind of like the same way they look at it. Like, they're kind of just removed. They're like, oh, okay, like I'm just hanging out.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that's it too, is like ghosts, they're like they're on a different plane. It's like a different, even if they're stuck here with unfinished business, like they're just in a different space together,
And that's on period.
It's obviously trauma.
Trauma. Yep. All right. Well, I think we got a lot of really good stories in. I think we got a lot of good spooky ookies for the October monthy. And I'm thriving and surviving. So as long as everybody else is on this spooky episode of Horror Hump Day, I'm good to go.
Wow, that was so sorority girl of you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Weird Wednesday. Tune in the third Wednesday of every month for more strange, unsettling, and spooky.